Hi, welcome to my channel Cloud with Girish. In this video, I will discuss two essential AWS services that should be integral to your cloud migration and operational strategy, CloudWatch and CloudTrail. Observability, a key component of operational excellence as defined in the AWS Well-Architected Framework, is crucial for supporting and managing cloud operation effectively. CloudWatch and CloudTrail provide the tool necessary to implement this observability, empowering you to monitor, troubleshoot, and audit your applications in the cloud. Let's explore each of these services and some of the valuable features they offer. Let's look at a simple architecture diagram for these services. The first view here is for the CloudWatch service, and as you can see that either you have Lambda in your serverless architecture, or if you have an EC2 or other services like DynamoDB, all of these services can send the logs to CloudWatch. CloudWatch service essentially has multiple features built in. Some of those are collecting the logs, acting on alarm, and providing the metrics. So you can have CloudWatch service integrated in your logging and monitoring mechanism. The another service, CloudTrail, that's essentially an auditing service, and it will log all your management events, data events, and also provide a feature of like CloudTrail Lake. Basically, you can save all your trail, all your audit events in a S3 bucket. So that's a very simplified view of these two services. Let's look at some detail. So in AWS, when we talk about CloudWatch and CloudTrail services, sometimes they get often confused with one another, but each service has a distinct role in managing and securing cloud resources. Contrary to the idea of like CloudWatch versus CloudTrail, I think it's more accurate to think of them as complementary tools that help you achieve observability and compliance across your AWS environment. In simplest terms, I will refer them as CloudWatch is a logging, monitoring, and alerting service. CloudTrail is an auditing service that records events within your AWS accounts. Understanding the unique function of each can help you design a robust, well-monitored, and compliant cloud infrastructure. Let's look at AWS CloudWatch first. AWS CloudWatch is designed to provide logging, monitoring, and alerting capability. It is instrumental in ensuring the observability of your AWS resources, application, and services. And like I stated before, the primary purpose is logging, monitoring, and alarming. Some of the common use cases are setting up alarm for critical metrics like CPU utilization, memory, API latency. If you have serverless architecture, then you can set up the alarm on Lambda invocation, and then visualizing metrics over time using the CloudWatch dashboard. There are some default dashboard provided to you, but you can also build your own based on the metrics that you want to view in those dashboards. Aggregating logs for troubleshooting, and then analysis using CloudWatch logs. So those are some common use cases. Let's look at like some core feature. I already stated some of it before, like log collection and management. So CloudWatch log group store or organize log from various AWS services and custom application log. For example, you can create a log group to track application log or system level metrics from EC2 instance, or you can create a log group to gather all the logs from your Lambda function. Alarm and notification. CloudWatch can trigger alarm based on metric threshold, enabling you to monitor key performance indicator and then take automated action, such as scaling an application or sending an alert if a service experience issue. CloudWatch Log Insight. This is an interactive query tool that you analyze log data to identify trend and diagnose problem, offering query by source, region, IP, and more for in-depth visibility. I'll be presenting a workshop for Log Insight also in the next session, so stay tuned for that. Setting up and using CloudWatch log group. So now that we understand the use cases for CloudWatch, let's use an example to create a CloudWatch log group, use it, and then delete it so that we don't incur cost by leaving the log group forever in our account. If you are following me on the YouTube for other workshop, you will notice that I typically call out setting up your budget or deleting the resources at the end if you don't need them, because in cloud it's very important that you know what you are using and deleting it if you don't need it so that you don't incur the cost. So some of the steps that we will do as we get started: from AWS console, navigate to the CloudWatch service, select the log group, create a log group and specify a name for the log group. An example will be like AWS Lambda contact handler log. Let's say I have a function called contact handler and I want to get all my logs in this log group. Then I can name it this, or I can name it anything else of my choice. I can configure the retention setting for this log group. I have the option starting from 1 day to like never expire, and there are many options in between, like in days, weeks, month, and years, right? I think I have an option for 3 day, 5 day. I have for weeks, for month. I have 10 years option. I have never expire option. And then I can update the Lambda function config to use this custom log group. Now, I will call out that you don't need to use custom log group if you're using Lambda, because Lambda will create a default log group in the format of AWS Lambda and your function name. But again, if you don't want to use that and you want to configure your own custom log group for any reason, then you do have the flexibility to do that. And then once we have that, we can review the log, and if everything looks good, we know that, okay, this is how we set up the custom log group. Then, like I said, at the end, if you don't need it, delete the log group to avoid incurring cost. So here is an example of CloudWatch log group from AWS console. When I navigate to the CloudWatch service and select like log group, I can click on create log group. I can provide a log group name. And like I said, I can provide a retention setting, and that should give me my log. And this is how my logging, like here, I can go to my Lambda function. If I want to change and start using this custom log group, then I can go to monitoring and operational tools, and I can configure this custom log, right? Like I said, I don't have to do that in the case of Lambda, because Lambda will create a default log group. But there can be use cases where I want to use my custom log group, and then this is how I will create it. Let's look at overview of an AWS CloudTrail, which is another service. So like I stated before, CloudTrail is an auditing service designed to record event within an AWS account. It automatically logs management event for AWS resources, tracking any action taken via AWS Management Console, SDK, or CLI. So these records provide insight into who did what, where, and when within an AWS environment, and it makes CloudTrail a critical component for security, compliance, and operational transparency. Primary purpose is auditing and compliance. So who logged in, when logged in, which source IP they logged in from. These are all the events that get logged. Who created the resource, who deleted the resource, at what time it got deleted. That is the kind of information that falls under the management event, and it gets logged automatically. So let's look at some of the common use cases for CloudTrail. Capturing account activity for compliance and security audit, monitoring user actions to detect unusual activity, and then storing logs in Amazon S3 for long-term retention or analysis with other tools. And sometimes there can be a compliance requirement to store it for long term. It could be 7 years in some cases. So you can use Amazon S3 for that long-term retention. Some of the core features, again, logging of management events and data events. So there is a difference. There is a management events like creating, modifying, deleting resource, logging in. All of these are categorized as management events, and these get logged automatically. Data events, these are specific action taken on resources, like you accessing the S3 bucket or you are invoking a Lambda function. That is considered a data event. Management events are logged by default for the past 90 days, and we can also create a trail to log this event to an S3 bucket for long-term storage and set up alert on specific events. And these stores information, like I said, many different attributes, the region, the source IP, which AWS service, so making it easier to track and respond to unexpected action. Let's look at an example of CloudTrail event. So this is the management event are active by default, so there is no specific action you need to take to configure it. It's auto active for your account. And here is an example, right? So it's saying, hey, delete log group. If I delete the log group, it will get logged, sending the message. So this is how it will look. I'm only showing like part of like the attribute, but there are many more attribute on this screen, like a source IP and X key and other information that I don't want to show. So that's why I'm not showing it, but it does log a lot of the additional attributes, and it allows you to easily track the events. In conclusion, both CloudWatch and CloudTrails are indispensable AWS services that contribute to the observability and security pillar of the AWS Well-Architected Framework. While CloudWatch is essential for real-time monitoring and alerting, CloudTrail provides a comprehensive log of user activity and API call, making it invaluable for auditing and compliance. For a robust cloud solution, you want to leverage both the services, both CloudWatch and CloudTrail, to gain comprehensive insight into your AWS environment, performance, security, compliance, logging, monitoring, and auditing. It's been a fundamental component of any on-prem application, and it should remain a foundational components in any cloud migration or architecture to ensure resilience, security, and regulatory compliance, right? If you can't see the log, if you can't monitor it, you can't audit it, then essentially you can't really provide a good operational support for your application, right? So by leveraging CloudWatch and CloudTrail, you build a foundation for observability and governance that aligns with AWS best practices and keeps your cloud environment secure and compliant. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. I'm constantly working on new content covering various AWS topics, so please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the Cloud with Girish channel. Your support helps me continue creating valuable AWS tutorial and workshop. Stay tuned for more exciting content. Thank you.